Hello, scholars, and welcome back to Writing with Miss Kitchens. We are now on day 19, April 21st, 2020. I first off want to say welcome back from a long, well-deserving spring break. We are now going to jump right back into distant learning with our reading, writing, and math. Stay tuned and continue on being prepared because we have a lot of learning to do. All right. Before we go into our lesson, you know Ms. Kitchens loves to go over the student learning outcomes. Students will be able to use a variety of genres to reach a variety of audience. Students will be able to reread on writing and determine how to improve a writing piece independently. Students will be able to use strategies to figure out how to write words that are hard to spell. Okay, as always, we want to make sure that you have your writing materials. Those materials are your writing folder to keep your work nice and neat, your pencils, your crayons, your illustrated rubric checklist that I have posted on Google Classroom under this assignment. You're either using the Kami app for your writing line paper or just grab a plain piece of paper. Either or is acceptable. Whatever makes you comfortable is what I want you to use for your writing task. Okay, so just to refresh your memory, before we went on break, these are some topics that we were writing about for our persuasive writing, right? We're persuading people into our ideas and something that we feel strongly about. So Miss Kitchens has highlighted in the yellow right there what she was writing about, and which was why we should want to make the world a better place. That is something that I feel very strongly about, and I want others to feel strongly about also. However, I did give you some other topics to help you to choose if you were having a hard time figuring out what it was that you want to write about to whoever you were writing your letter to, or your song, or your list of rules. Wanted to give you some topics, and here are some topics if you want to continue on with your writing, if you finished your past persuasive writing. I know a lot of you probably chose the why someone is special. You are all caring people. I've been seeing a lot of those while I was correcting your papers. Okay, so just to go back and look at our anchor chart about authors' purpose to persuade. Why do authors persuade? Well, we know that writers write to make the world better. So, to persuade, we also want to persuade people so that we can make the world a better place, right? So, when authors' purpose to persuade, they make sure that they are strong in convincing someone to do something. They want to see that someone is doing something that they want them to do. So they're very convincing in that matter. Okay. They make someone believe in something. So whatever it is that you're trying to get someone to believe in, you have this idea that you feel strongly about. You want to get someone to feel that same way. So you are persuading them to believe in something. You also are changing someone's mind. Okay, so maybe someone wasn't thinking so right about a certain situation, and you want to help them to think a little bit better about it. You know, when some friends are feeling down, sometimes you go to them and you tell them how much they are an amazing person and how smart and how beautiful they are and they matter to the world. You know, that changes their mind once they see that someone can actually persuade them into believing in themselves. So that's what we do too when we persuade, when we encourage. We are actually persuading people to believe something that we want them to believe. Okay. But going back, we talked about how writers write to make the world better, right? They do that by one, seeing a problem, right? They notice that this is a problem. They come up then with a solution, thinking about the problem, the solution, and some reasons to convince people into going along with their ideas. That is something that writers do when they are persuading. Okay, and then they go right into their writing, talking about the problem, the solution, and the reasons why they are convincing you to think how they are thinking or whatever it is that they want you to believe. Think about that, okay? You want to get everyone to be, when you're writing, you want people to be on your side when you're persuading. You want them to think like what it is that you're trying to get them to think about. Right. So, the purpose of today, okay? I want you to understand that lately, even on break, I've found myself thinking about when writers are stuck on tricky words, what do they do, right? What do we do when we are stuck on tricky words? Okay, so here's an anchor chart that says writers don't say, how do you spell, right? That's not the first thing you want to do, right? You want to make sure that you're sitting there and you are utilizing all of the strategies that you have learned to spell out those tricky words. So I want you to take a moment, okay? And I want you to draw your own example of you using a strategy to spell out tricky words. And these strategies are listed here on our anchor chart. Whether it is you checking the word wall or you using, your word cards or your word ring, or you're listening for little words, some of the reading mastery words that you have already learned, or you're stretching out those words, apple, right? And you're remembering the vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. Yeah, I want you to think about I want you to draw out your own example of a strategy that you use to help you spell out a tricky word. Okay? So you can do that now. Take about a couple of seconds to draw out your strategy that you use to help you when you are spelling out those tricky words. All right. Great job. I bet you have one of these 5 strategies down. One of them. Whether it's check the word wall. Some of us might have a word wall. You see Miss Kitchen's word wall in the beginning of Distinct Learning, right? I had my word wall behind me when I was doing my YouTube videos. Or you might just find a book, a genre that you've been reading. Maybe you've been reading a nonfiction book or a fiction book where they've been talking about persuading someone to do something. So you've been using that book to help you spell out tricky words because you're probably just imitating what the author is doing in their book. So you might find some words that match what you want to say that author have already said in their book. You might be listening for little words. You might have stretched out that word, or you might remember the vowels. Whatever you have done, I'm sure that you were able to draw your own example of you using a strategy to spell out your tricky words. Great job. I'm very happy that you did that. Okay, we're going to move forward, but I want you to, in the future, um, during your have to, or even after this assignment, I want to challenge you to spell a reading mastery word you remember from reading the reading mastery word list on your paper. If you're in Miss Kitchen's class, you probably remember some of the words that myself and Miss Jones was talking about back in, I want to say, been out so long. I want to say February. Beginning of February. You are young, so you probably won't remember, but I remember, and I know for a fact you know some of those words like lick, or me, those type words. Think of those reading mastery words, okay? I know it's been a while, but I want to challenge you. And I want you to tell me on your paper that you turn in for your have to, the strategy that you used when Miss Kitchens asked you to draw your own example using a strategy to spell out a tricky word. Okay? All right. Now we have entered into our 10-minute of free write. Here is where you're actually going to use your illustrated rubric in those 2 areas where it says I use the word wall and I sounded out the letters and the word. to make sure that you actually done that. And then you're going to put a check in the area where it says tally, or you're going to put a check in the area where it says not met. Okay, you haven't done it yet. So that's what you're going to do. I'm going to ask that parents set a timer for 10 minutes and that you pause the slideshow so that the scholar can have that 10 full non-distracting minutes of free write. And I will see you at the 10-minute mark. All right, time is up. So, like I was saying, here is the rubric that you should have marked up. If you wrote a letter for the sound that you've heard, you should have put the check in the tally area. If you have not done that yet, you should have put the check in the not met. As you can see, I have circled here on the Kami. If you want, you can go to the hyperlink at the top to see more in detail what I've done. But I also screenshotted my computer so that you can see very clearly what I've done to show my areas where I wanted to work on for spelling those tricky words. Okay, so I used the word wall and I wrote a letter for the sound I hear. Now you remember this anchor chart. When we are done, we've just begun. Remember that although you are going through the process of revising your paper and sounding out those tricky words, when you are done doing that, we actually just started onto a whole new avenue of writing. So don't finish because a start of a new piece is on its way. We're going to keep going and rolling on with this persuasive writing. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Don't give up. All right. So yeah, today I want to teach you that even when words are hard, writers don't say, help me, help me. Instead, writers think about all the ways they know how to write words. Then they decide which strategies they will use to spell the best they can. And as you have already seen, Ms. Kitchens was using the rubric to help guide her spelling of the words. And that's something that you can do today. You can use your word ring, you can use your word wall, you can use whatever it is, a dictionary, to get those hard spelling words down. Because it is important that you are spelling your words correctly to help your readers understand what it is that you are trying to say. Okay. Here is your have to. How can I be successful in today's writing? Your mission today that that anytime you feel stuck on a tricky word, instead of saying help me, think of all the strategies you know for spelling the best you can on your own. This way you can get stronger and more independent as writers. If you forget some of your spelling strategies, always look back at your chart or send Miss Kitchens a little note. Say, Mom, I want to talk to Miss Kitchens in a comment about writing because I'm starting to have, some difficulties and some hard areas that I want to get better at. And I'll promise you we can talk about it all day if you want. All right. Okay. So yes, you are using your chart to help you not ask for help. You are using your own strategies, everything that you got in your tool belt to spell those tricky words today. Okay. Students' criteria for success. This is how you will be successful in your writing today, and this is what I will be looking for when I am grading your writing. Students will continue to work on persuasive pieces. So whatever you've been writing in the past or your new paper, I'm just going to see if it's persuading, it's convincing Miss Kitchens to do something that you want me to do or to think what you want me to think. Students will elaborate and revise pieces to make them the best they can be. Adding much details, making sure that you are spelling those tricky words, using different words. Students will work on spelling words and use charts for assistance. That is your illustrated rubric. I have highlighted the areas for you. Focus on those two areas, making sure that you are spelling those tricky words and making that writing nice and juicy like it always is. I get so excited when I read all of your writing because you are all smart thinkers and problem solvers, and the things that you are saying that you want to do to make the world a better place is so amazing. Thank you so much for being so thoughtful about the world we live in today.